Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the Soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
It's episode 79 of the Pop Tower Podcast. I'm Peter W. Dawson.
And I am James Bullock, and I believe I am not a clone.
That's good. But James, let me ask you something.
What's going on?
You think if we ever did battle in 10,000 years, people would be fighting on our corpses?
I don't know, but if we had a sword, maybe, just maybe, we could change time.
That'd be nice.
That would be.
Yeah. And also Josh Gad would be there and
narrating the whole occurrence.
For no reason.
No reason. He just decided he's going to be the friggin' Morgan Freeman of his generation. Like, that's his goal for the rest of his life.
Well, he's got nowhere to go but up. You ever see that movie where he was the narrator and he was a dog?
Yeah.
Pun intended. Woof. Anyway, we're not talking about that movie. That movie sucks. We're going to talk about video games, television, and movies, and we've got a nice nerd trifecta today.
Yes.
We got Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition.
Yes.
We got Rick and Morty, season 4.5. And we've got the film adaptation of Artemis Fowl.
Yes.
And where is it? All right. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
That was great.
Yeah, you're gonna... Yeah. Oh, yeah, stay tuned to the end, folks. Oh, boy. I was looking at something I liked. Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes.
So, I never played the original. It's like... and, like, I knew it was a game I would probably like if I ever played, just from the way everyone described it. And... So, for those who don't know, Xenoblade Chronicles is by the team that did, like, Xenosaga and Xenogears. But once again, due to studio departures and everything, they couldn't continue their old Xeno series, but they wanted to do something in the spirit of Xeno. So they created a new continuity, and it's Xenoblade now, which, granted, has very little to do with the other Xeno series.
Yeah, which was crazy, because that was the thing that hooked me initially, because, of course, I love Xenogears, and I was actually a big Xenosaga fan, too. And the fact that they was made by the same team of Monolith Soft, I was so excited about it. And like you said, they realized, hey, we can't do the exact same timeline or keep a lot of the things that connected those games together. So let's just give you a whole new experience. But still, hey, I'm fine with it. It worked out very well. As cheesy as some of the stuff could be.
Oh, yeah, like, it's very much spiritually in the same concept as the others. And it draws from, like, I don't know how much of this game I would say is truly unique, aside from maybe the setting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got a lot of aspects from JRPGs and stuff that I really like. And a few aspects I think that feel more Western RPG to a degree.
Yeah, because, I mean, it focuses more on a mixture of that turn-based style that we've known and loved for so long, and still the action RPG orientation that started really becoming popular in the West when it came to RPGs. And like you said, one of the things that always stood out to me was the arts, because that's so Xenogears.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the combat as a whole kind of reminds me of Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Like, that was the one I always reminded, because I kind of saw a bit of it when it came up, but I haven't had a chance to play it until now with Definitive Edition, so I can't speak much to the changes, which is good, because this is why you're here.
Right, no, you started off with the best one.
Yeah, and the combat of that, it's one of those games where it's really nice that you don't have to worry about healing after combat.
Yes.
And they do a pretty good job of addressing that. Because it makes combat really intense as a result, but still has a good pacing to it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that in a lot of ways, when it comes to certain games, especially when it comes to RPGs, you're always trying to manage the best you can. And with this, you always have the ability to kind of go full all-out with an assault. But you're always trying to be patient about it, because they don't give you the easiest of enemies either. So you have to be very mindful of what you're doing, all the while knowing that, hey, I don't have to sacrifice everything to do so. to be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it reminds me of what they tried to do with Final Fantasy 12.
Yes.
But they do it so much better here. Just because, like, 12, it was just, like, obnoxious. Here it's like, okay, it's there, and it's a challenge, and it forces you to think, but I don't think it's obnoxious, per se.
Exactly, yeah.
Especially because there's more freedom to it all. That's probably the best way I describe it.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up Final Fantasy 12, because that was the first thing I thought about when I was looking back on. I was like, yeah, it reminded me so much of 12, but just done so much better.
It really does. I mean, you know, there's things about 12 I really liked, but, like, yeah, just in general, this one's so much better.
Yeah, oh, yeah, very much so.
And I do appreciate some of the early shocking elements that happen, not to mention, like, the game gets really dense pretty quick, but I don't think the density is too unwieldy.
No, not at all. No, it's pretty much prototypical JRPG in the sense of, okay, we got a lot of information for you, but it doesn't throw it at you like in the first couple of hours. Like, they really make sure they spread it out. At least for like the first 10 hours, you're still learning stuff. So I appreciate the fact that they don't try to just throw everything at you at one time.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it takes 10 hours for the game to open up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that could be a real problem. Like, you know, the Persona games, it can take hours for them to open up, and I love those games. But...
Yeah, but there's always new elements that are popping up like 15 hours in that you don't understand why it took so long for it to show up.
Yeah, I was like, oh, now we get access to the jazz club. Oh, now we can go to the maid cafe. In this case, no, it's like, no, everything is paced pretty well, and they have a lot of systems that are there early on. Like, one of my favorites that they had is trading with NPCs.
Yes.
That's a really interesting little element. And they also have that element from, I think the first instance I remember this from is Final Fantasy IX, where if you can just watch kind of cutscenes between characters if they're in the party.
Oh yeah. And that was the first one I do remember having that possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. There might have been some of the games before that, and I know we've seen a few here and there with other games since. But that's a system I always really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got like those optional conversations you can have in like Naughty Dog games.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
I always loved those in like those type of games, especially like with Final Fantasy Now. That's the first one that, like you said, just brought up that I remember that happening, and you kind of want to go back and see how many you've seen, how many you've missed, and this does a great job of doing that too.
Yeah. So before we get into like the main changes with the definitive edition versus the original, which you'll speak to more a little strongly, I think, I do want to comment on just like the nature of the. So, for those that don't know, kind of the big hook of the backstory of this game is that the world is set on the bodies of two dead gods,
yes,
more or less, who had this epic battle on top of a vast, endless ocean, and then they died, and then like life sprouted out on them, and you live on like the ankles of one of the gods. Like that's where you start, and as a result, it's like, and then stuff happens, and you go on adventure. I'm gonna try to be, because
I know, because we don't want to spoil everything.
No, there's actually a pretty good little hook early on that is a bit of a cliche still, but it's not bad because like
it's done well though.
Yeah, like it's not the most foreshadowed of them. Like you probably thought something different was gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got a new, something like this is gonna happen, but it's like, oh, this is what happens. And of course, there's some other stuff like when you do the flashback sequence with the three dudes, and the one dude's like, meow.
Yeah.
I gotta say, that's not well done.
No, not at all.
Even later on, when they explain it a bit more, it's like that's still kind of silly.
It's still goofy. Like it just doesn't work.
Yeah. And of course, some of the character names and stuff, like I still don't the name Shulk.
Yeah, that was always the thing that bothered me so much. Like, just one's a terrible name for a protagonist.
Well, especially because you got his best friend's named Rain, and that's a really good name for
him. Yeah, that would make more sense.
And like,
Shulk's the guy that turns on his best friend midway through the game.
Yep, Shulk's sad. Shulk will shuck clams. I don't know. I'm just making fun of the name. But yeah, no, like, And I gotta say, even though I think they re-recorded some of it, the English dialogue is, it doesn't feel quite right.
It's still cringy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it wasn't that good in the first game. I mean, the original iteration.
No, it really. I saw some of the clips. It was not.
No, but I mean, even the re-recorded ones is not that much better. It's just one of those things that it's a very quirky English dub that's very reminiscent of like the early PS2 days.
Yeah.
Like this is them learning from Final Fantasy X and all the wrong things they did in that one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like they took the dialogue from 10 and changed it to 10 too, and it's like that's not an improvement.
No.
I almost think it's worse. Yeah. I'm still mad at Waka.
Oh yeah, who isn't really?
Yeah. You. I'm calling you out as a Waka stan.
I love Waka and his balls.
All right. Moving on. Anyway, yeah. So like that's So as the premise there, you're a hero who, through circumstance, gets his hands on a mystery sword and has to go on a quest to what eventually comes into the theological implications of the world in general.
Yeah.
Which is pretty standard JRPG fare, and they do a pretty good job handling it. And what's funny is some aesthetics of this game also remind me, like, just to bring up other things this reminds me of. It also reminds me of Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
Especially with a certain character we meet.
Yeah, definitely.
Like her in particular really reminds me of a character from Gurren Lagann. And there's certainly an aspect to it as well. Like, it's not as cheesy, sort of ridiculous as Gurren Lagann could be. So I appreciate that, but it's still like, why am I getting Gurren Lagann flashbacks? And considering what happens later in the game, that's not the most inaccurate of comparisons.
No, not at all.
It's really not. That's kind of the weird thing of it all. Yeah, but like as a result, like the combat's good. I love the exploration. It does have a few kind of tedious collection quests, but they're not the worst in my opinion.
And they're not as bad as they were in the original.
Okay, yeah. So we should probably use that as the segue. You want to tell me how this is better than the original?
Well, I mean, some of the things in terms of like the items that you have to collect, especially when it comes to fetch quests, are actually designated a lot better than the original game. The original game, it went in there blind. Like, you would have to look through everything. You had to look through under every figurative rock to discover what the item you were looking for. Like, there was no quest markers. There was no waypoints. There was nothing like that in the original.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. No, that was a lot of...
This is a game that needs it.
Right, exactly. And that was a lot of the time that went into the game when it came to just traversing, was trying to figure out what to do and where to go to find the item that you were looking for.
So it's just like, it sounds like, yeah, because I knew people were saying the quality of life was better, but I didn't know how much. Because I know the menus look cleaner.
Oh my goodness, yes. That was another thing I was going to bring up. Yeah, the menus are actually not only visible, because they were a blurry mess. It was so much going on. And it's still a lot going on in this, but they cleaned them up so much better in this version. And it's a lot easier to navigate and figure out what you're trying to do, because as you know, there's a lot of time spent in the menus, from customization to just trying to get your characters in alignment to whatever enemy you're about to face. It was a lot muddier, a lot more heavy-handed in terms of just trying to figure out which way to go, what to do, how to make sure I've actually input the stuff I wanted to input in the original version. Like, they really cleaned up the menu a lot, and it's still a lot in there, which is crazy when you think about it.
Oh yeah, the menu's dense.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think it's unwieldy.
No.
It definitely takes some getting...
The original, yes, it was. It was a very annoying experience.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And I mean, of course, like you said, graphical, it looks a lot better than it did in the original, which is not surprising. But the navigation, the traversal, the menus, those are big, big additions that just made the game so much more enjoyable to play in the Definitive Edition.
Yeah. Don't know if there's much else to say at this point.
No. Like I said to you, you were saying that you asked me earlier about it. And I say you said the first one that you played when it comes to this series is the definitive edition, and as I said, this is the best one possible, and that is really the only, to me, option of playing the game right now. Like, even if you have, if for some reason if you still have a Wii hooked up or you have a 3DS, do not even think about playing those games on those consoles. This is the only way to go.
Yeah, the graphics are definitely improved too.
Oh, very much so. Oh, like I said, Shulk, I mean, he actually looks like a person now instead of just like a blurry blob or whatever he was on the Wii. Yep. Oh, he was an ugly dude back then. His ugliness matched his name.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Oh man, a really good remaster. Very good, a very good addition to the Switch library. I know we've had a lot of remasters this generation, but to me, this is a very good addition to the Switch library.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and it's like the good kind of slog. Like if it wasn't for the fact that I was, was just getting off Persona 5, and,
right?
And even then, I still went back to make sure I got all the trophies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's the only thing that was kind of. So I gotta glad the next game I'm playing isn't so much of a slog.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that doesn't suddenly change on me. I've got concerns about that, but we'll save that for next episode.
All right.
Anyway, so we should probably move on from a game we liked to a show we like.
Yes.
Let's talk about Rick and Morty.
Yeah. We finally got that second half of season 4.
Yep. So yeah, we talked about the first half. In particular, we talked about what was it? The Edge of Morty, the old man in the seat, one crew over the Cuckoo's Morty.
Yes.
That's man, some of these are such terrible names. Clud Hoarder, Special Rick Nims Morty, and then of course Rattlestar Rick Lactica.
Yes.
I already hate my tongue, and I have to say 5 more titles. So now we're talking about Never Ricky and Morty.
Yes, that's too bad.
Pro Mortius.
Yes.
The Fat of Acid episode.
The easiest one to say.
Yep. Chilled Rick of Mort. Star Mort. Rick Turn of the Jerry. Damn.
Of course they saved the most complicated for last when it comes to this season. The second half.
Yeah. So, overall thoughts on the second half of the season, James?
It was, like the first half, kind of a mixed bag. I think one of the biggest problems of the last few seasons is that we've kind of had more of a serialized effort. And this season kind of went back to how they were in the first 2 seasons. Not a lot's happening anymore until, like, the final episode of the season. Like, there are little things, of course, when it comes to character progression, but it's still we're spinning the same wheels a lot of times until we get to, like I said, that season finale. Like, that's when we finally saw a lot of progression when it came to certain characters.
That's true. Yeah, because, like, I gotta say, there's only 2 episodes in this chunk of 5 I really liked. And you can probably guess which ones. That would be the Bad Acid episode.
Okay, yeah.
I really like that one just because, like, it's such a Rick moment.
Yeah. It just like, being so petty, which, like, goes back to the Pirates of the Pancreas kind of deal. Like, he's just that petty about so stupid things.
I know, and I just love the particular choice. Where it's like, and it's like, Rick, we can't just hide in a vat of acid. That's not gonna work. That's so dumb. And then Rick's like, "You calling my idea dumb, Morty?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ruin multiple dimensions to prove that I'm right."
I just love their unveiling of the multiple bones.
I know.
Because they'll just a spoiler here if you haven't seen this for some reason. They actually throw a rat in the acid and he has to release bones, and the reaction is, "Man, that rat had a lot of bones."
Yeah, I know. There's so many great little bits. And of course, like, it's got one of my favorite post-episode stingers, too. Where there's the policeman who believes he's impervious to acid.
Oh, yes. He tries to become a freaking star. He wants to be the next Chris Angel, who, ironically enough.
Yep.
But, yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, like I love that, and I do love the season finale.
Yeah, season finale. To me, that was the strongest episode, definitely, of that whole second half.
Yeah. But then we get, like, Never Rick and Morty, which is the story train episode.
Yeah.
Which is one of the many things that's like, okay, you see why you think it's a good idea, but it goes so inside baseball.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I enjoyed it while it was unraveling, but it was one of those episodes, unlike, say, the anthologies we've had in the past, where I would like to rewatch it just to see what I missed. This one didn't have that.
No, like, it's... Like, I appreciate what they're trying to say, but it's just, And, it was like, alright, we're going to have a story train. It's a literal story device.
Yes.
And then they reference a bunch of stuff like the Bechdel test. I'm like, sure. Was it the continuity explosion?
Yes!
Deus Ex Machina, and of course, what was it? Every writer's hell, the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually love the fact that, of course, well, it's just so weird, like, that Rick is still an atheist as much as they tease the fact that there's a hell. But the fact is that, like, he makes a big point, like, man, how can you be mad? Jesus actually saved the day here.
I know, that was a great line.
But,
and of course, that's the episode where they slipped in, a reference to coronavirus.
I was about to say, yeah, of course we had to support capitalism here. You got to support the economy. Go buy stuff. Doesn't matter. Don't take it back. Go buy it. Go buy another one.
Yeah. Pro Mortius, though, that felt like a half-baked Rick and Morty idea.
Yeah.
Like, you can see where the Rick and Morty basic idea is, you can see where the basic twist is, and then there was nothing really beyond that.
No, not at all. Like, even trying to throw, like, the whole thing Summer is helping lead the charge, it didn't help.
Yeah, I know, which is a shame. Like I said, Vat of Acid episode, like, you can critique where it goes, but I just love the way it loops around.
Yeah. I mean, just the pure, unadulterated fact of Rick just being his petty self.
Yeah, and it does the classic Rick and Morty thing of, here's awesome scientific invention, let's see how it goes wrong.
Right, and here are the repercussions of it.
Yeah, like, that I do like. Like, that's why I like this episode so much, I think.
And also we had that great moment of Morty falling in love. And I love the fact that Jerry, of course, screws up everything.
Yep, of course, it's Jerry.
It's Jerry, man. It never gets any better for Jerry.
No.
until the season finale, and it still didn't end up right.
Yeah. And then of course there's Chilled Rick of Mort, where it's like, okay, we have this basic concept where Rick bangs a planet, and of course named Gaia, and then of course what's his nuts, Reggie shows up.
Yeah.
So Rick basically has to fight a literal god. But even then, that kind of felt, I don't know.
I mean, it was one of those situations where we once again saw how weak Rick really is, even though, he's professing himself to be the smartest man on the planet. He's always got one up on someone. And really, he was in the throes of death at this point. Like, he would have died if not for a freak accident.
Mm-hmm.
Just always play video games with huff brake fluid and you'll get through life just perfectly fine.
Yeah. That sums it up.
Oh, and always make sure you cook your s'mores properly, like that. There was a lot of life lessons in that episode.
Always make sure you cook your s'mores properly.
We do not need walls.
Otherwise, it's just gonna be a mess, Morty, and nobody likes a messy s'more. I'll be back. I gotta go take a dump.
Yeah.
I actually cleaned that up. He probably would have said shit.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, the finale is the one, because this is the one that really leans into the continuity.
Yes, yeah.
And even has jokes about character arcs, which I do love. I love that line. That's our arc.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just Summer and Morty just going throughout the whole episode saying, we figured out our arc. That's our arc. Yeah, we get along now. That's our arc. And they still can't really get along. So
I know. And of course, yeah, later on, we finally find out who has the arc.
Yeah.
It also probably has my second favorite post-credit scene, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So like we finally get answers on the whole Beth clone situation from season 3.
Yes.
Which I did appreciate them addressing.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, it was a big deal where during season 3, Beth starts to realize just how much she's like her father. Like that whole episode where she goes into Fruity Land and just like, oh yeah, I'm my father. She's so happy about it, and she can now realize, hey, I could be more than this, or I could just accept me being the horse doctor mom that I am with Jerry and the kids. So Rick actually gives her the option, hey, either you can go out into space and do whatever you want to do, and I'll make a clone to keep everyone appeased, or you can just stay here. It's up to you. And we find out what the decision was by Beth during this episode, and we also find out how terrible of a father Rick is once again.
Yeah, which is, like, him admitting that, I think, is a major part of this.
Yes.
Which could have repercussions for Season 5, which is why it's such a big character moment. But, yeah, we also get some, like, this episode basically addresses everything left hanging from Season 3.
Including PP.
Yep. Not to Yep. I do love how they even address the name.
Yeah.
Phoenix person? That's such a dumb name.
Right.
And of course, I love that. I love the exchange between him and Rick. It's like, I always wondered what would happen when we fought. And you are a bad friend.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, he's got a point.
And even better is the fact that Rick tries to justify at the end, like, yeah, I'm a bad father, but I'm a good friend, and he's still terrible at it.
Yeah. It's like, and of course, the invisibility belt, really addressing how creepy it is, the immediate thing anyone would do with it.
Yes! And the thing about it, we know that Summer can't have her creepy moments, but like this is the first time where we really see her like reach those same levels of depravity that her brother would.
Yep, they're both pretty terrible in this.
Yeah, they're both really terrible people. Especially when it comes to the opposite sex, or people they have crushes on. Like, they're really, really bad.
This is not like the 80s where they would have characters doing this and it would be fine.
Oh, yeah, no. This would be a situation like when the guy opened the door, he would have grabbed her and kissed her. Like, he'd been so happy.
Yeah. And then frickin', why can't I think of his name now? Danger Zone guy would start playing.
Oh, yeah.
I can't
think of it either.
You know what? Let's just call him Danger Zone guy.
Yeah.
And we could look up his name, and it's gonna be a name that's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, you know what? I just remembered anyway. Kenny Loggins.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah. He just comes in, kisses her, and Kenny Loggins starts playing.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so we get the exploration of the clone plot, which I appreciated. We get the return of Phoenix person, which I appreciate, and we just get more addressment of the whole Federation thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And not to mention, Jerry's actually really good in this episode.
Yeah. Jerry getting a hold of the invisible belt was one of the best moments of the entire season for me.
Oh, yeah, well, then the post credits, it's more about the invisible belt, which is just such a perfect examination of like everything that could happen with that. It's like, all right, I'm done with this belt. Oh, the garbage truck's invisible, which causes a car accident. Like, I have an invisible garbage truck.
Yeah.
I'll become a Batman, like
yes!
vigilante. But then it runs out of gas, so he just abandons it.
Yeah.
It's like just like this perfect stream of consciousness gag. I love it. Oh, good times.
I said that was absolutely fantastic. Like, Jerry has always had like the greatest stingers for me. Like the one where the wolf just takes his his unemployment check, and like that kind of stuff.
This
just
is
absolutely
food. You don't want food,
but this will nourish you. Unless my pain is your nourishment, of course it is.
Yeah, and not to mention that the wind just blowing by.
Loser.
Oh, good time.
Oh man, I really love it. Oh, also, I love the appearance from Dr. Wong at the end, where she just said, "I'm better than this job."
I do appreciate that.
Yes.
But yeah, no, overall, like, those 2 episodes are really good. And I think between, the original the original 5 episodes and these 5 episodes, we had a pretty good season.
Yeah.
Probably about half real hits, half varying degrees of okays to a couple of misses, I think.
Yeah. I think this half had a lot more misses than the first half did.
Yeah, they definitely. Because, I mean, I think the weakest one was still one of the most quotable and memorable ones, because it was the "Your son of a bitch, I'm in" one.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the weakest one. It was that or the one after that, I think. I can't even remember what the one after that was off the top of my head.
Oh, okay, because that's the heist. Yeah. Oh no, you're right. No, the weakest one was the dragon one, which was the next one.
Yeah. The heist one was probably the second weakest in that first chunk, and it's still one of the most quotable.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Whereas
episodes,
I would definitely say Never Rick and Morty was the weakest episode of the second half.
Yeah. That's definitely.
Yeah, and that's one.
It's either that or Promortius.
Yeah.
Those are both pretty weak. Like, I think Never Ricky and Morty is still kind of clever, but because of the sheer inside baseball of it, it can be impenetrable.
Right. It's one of those ones where, to me, once you see it once and get like just get all of it, it doesn't have that lasting power.
Yeah, like Promortius, I guess if you rewatch it knowing the twist, even though it's a pretty obvious twist, that is enjoyable.
It still has those moments.
Yeah. So that probably about sums it up.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the most interesting thing now is that I have no idea what direction they're going to go with season 5. Like
It'll be interesting to see.
Huh?
That's right. I was going to say it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, because I mean we're just continuously bringing up the fact that Rick is losing control. Like that was a big deal in season 3 was him having control of the family, and it's very obvious he's lost a lot of his power over them. And now we're wondering, how much more can we have them going on adventures and not have maybe some kind of like overthrow kind of mentality with Morty. I want to see Morty start to take more control here.
That would be nice.
He is the one true Morty after all.
Well, I don't know. What about the one in charge?
Oh man, we gotta have a throwback. That's actually very interesting that we didn't get any of that this season.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that. We did not get any of that this season.
That's probably something they need to consider calling back.
Yeah, very much so.
Because that was one of the better episodes of season 3, too.
That was one of my favorite episodes of all time when it comes to this series.
That's weird, because like parts of it are just like homages to movies.
I know,
that's so well.
But like to me, like the best parts, just like the whole Simple Rick, just the training day montages. Like it was just so good, so well done. I love that episode.
Yeah, the training day stuff is pretty great. So, let's go from something we had joy in to, well, we wouldn't watch this trash. I really hate saying that too, because I love Kenneth Branagh.
Man,
like I friggin' love that dude, and like he did the first Thor movie. The first Thor movie was pretty good.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, and like he's directed other stuff. He did one of the best. Now I'm trying to remember which one was it. Yeah, he did Much Ado About Nothing. Like he directed it, and that was really good too.
Yes, it was.
Don't remember what else he directed. Oh yeah, he did. Oh yeah, right. He directed himself in Murder on the Orient Express, which was fine.
It was good. One of those ones that I walk away from and like I don't necessarily need to see this ever again, but I'm not mad that I did see it.
Like the performances in general were good, but I feel like they had some confusion about how to make it more action-packed.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And there was one sequence I just flat out hated, and I was like, this had no business being in this movie. And there's like another scene where it's like, all right, it's not entirely in character for Poirot, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's enough about that movie. That movie I want to talk about. Artemis Fowl.
Woo!
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. How much money did they spend? $125 million.
Yeah, I thought it was around that 20 mark.
It's not even the most expensive mistake a company has made this year, because we also had Dr. Dolittle
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
With Robert Downey Jr.
Wow.
Directed by a freaking Academy Award-winning screenwriter who has no business directing a freaking talking animal movie that requires a man's head to go up a butt.
Wow, I forgot about this.
Or whatever the heck that...
Whatever that was.
I don't even remember. I just remember it ends with a butt, and I'm just like, why? Who wrote this? Can we kill them? I probably shouldn't advocate for that because murder is wrong, but I don't know.
No, just take away the ability for them to ever do anything ever again when it comes to filmmaking.
See, like, I try to move beyond this accentuate the negative critical thing, because...
Oh, yeah.
And then I just think about movies that bring that out of me, and it annoys me. Like, this is the thing... Okay, so Artemis Fowl, for those who don't know, is a popular book series, started in about 2001.
Yeah.
You know, right when the Harry Potter train was really taking off. Because, like, that started, like, the Harry Potter train started in, what, 96, 97?
Yeah, it was around 97, yeah.
Yeah. And so at that point, like, it's like the first movie's about to come out, so it's like 2001's like, all right, let's do this. And in this case, what they do is they're like, hey, let's do a story about a 12-year-old villain. And that's essentially what Artemis Fowl is. He's a 12-year-old who, super genius, who discovers fairies and decides to use, like, he basically invades the fairy world through his genius and decides to do that to get rich. So he kidnaps a fairy to get gold. Like, that's essentially the whole plot of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a result, you know, it's like, as a result, Artemis Fowl, like, it's interesting because in the book, you can't help but admire him because of how smart he is. Very much like Rick from Rick and Morty.
Right. Even when he's doing terrible things.
But, yeah, but, like, he has very few redeeming character traits. Like, probably the most enduring is he's still a 12-year-old boy who loves his mom.
Right.
So in the movie, they don't have his mom dies in the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about his dad, who's still alive.
But very absentee.
Yep, and his dad's the one. His dad's the one who discovers that the fairies exist. He didn't have to do anything, and then we're supposed to believe he's a super genius.
Right. He just stumbled upon this and is able to relay all of this information to his son.
And rather than just being a greedy bugger, it's all because he loves his dad.
Yes. Yeah, because how dare you kidnap a thief's father?
If you couldn't find the point, you weren't alone.
I know. I mean,
yeah,
they even put the big revelation in the first 10 minutes, you know, that it's questionable that the father is a criminal mastermind. So we add that level of evil to the father. But the son, he's just doing it out of the kindness of his heart. That he's trying to save his dad. It's not even the fact he's trying to exonerate his father. He just wants to save him.
Yeah. And I mean, that's incredibly sympathetic, and as a result, like, it's hard to really care. Like, it's not really villainy anymore.
Right.
Which kind of destroys the main thing that made this appealing to the fans. So you adapt the book, but you get rid of the main thing that made it appealing to fans in the first place. This is why they bought the book.
Right.
So it's like, so why even bother? Like, because, like, the plot does somewhat closely follow the first book.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I don't want to call it like an in-name only adaptation, kind of like some of the Philip K. Dick adaptations we've gotten.
Right, okay, yeah.
You know, like how, what is it, Minority Report's pretty good, but it's definitely not what the book story was originally about.
Exactly, yeah.
Or, of course, iRobot was nothing like the original plot was. And that one also sucked, but that's neither here nor there. I like Minority Report. I'll defend the Minority Report.
No, it was one of those ones where it actually took some good qualities from it, took away some good qualities from it too, but it still pulled together a good adaptation. Like I said, iRobot, no, it did not.
No, it's
no, it did
kind
not.
of a mess. It's just a mess. Like, it literally put a middle finger to what the actual premise of the whole thing was. It's like, that's legit. Anyway. Yeah, as you can tell. So, in this case, the whole plot is he discovers a fairy world, and we meet, like, fairy cops trying to make sure fairy stuff isn't exposed to the world.
Yes.
And meanwhile, like, aha, I know the truth. So he kidnaps a fairy, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to use it to get money, and then to help make him look less evil, they also introduce a major villain from later books early. So again, Artemis isn't the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
And that introduction is done very poorly as well.
Oh yeah. Man, we don't even see his face.
No. We just got a glimpse at the very conclusion of his arc.
I know, and it's one of those actors I like, so
It's
that
like,
also
oh
annoyed me.
man, this is all we're gonna do with that guy? Like, really?
Well, yeah. And then we just get weird stuff, like we have, what is it, Josh Gad, who's a dwarf, but now he's the tallest dwarf, so he's insecure about it.
He's pretty much like that dwarf that is made fun of for being different, of course. And in that case, him being tall, of course, he's being made fun of. But it's done so quickly. And the fact is, he doesn't feel like he's downtrodden at all. Like, they still give him the opportunities to do stuff, even as a large dwarf.
Well, let me tell you something, too.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't in the original story.
See, I believe that.
It's just
I completely believe that.
Yeah, shockingly. They decided not to... Yeah, they just kind of made that up.
That is terrible CGI.
Oh, yeah. And it just keeps going. Like, it was such a pointless gag for a pointless reason.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the whole thing in the original was he was just a kleptomaniac thief.
Now he's the voice of reason.
No, it's just... Ugh. Oh, my God, we get it. You like Josh Gad.
No, that just did not work. And
how many movies have they overplayed that now?
That's a very good question.
Because it seems like they do it a lot. Because he was good. Because they overplayed him a bit in Frozen, but he was still charming.
Right.
And then like he actually hit a really good emotional beat in Frozen 2. But almost any other movie I can think of where they want to overplay Josh Gad being around, he's kind of insufferable.
It's very much annoying. It was one of those things where when he first started doing the narration, I was thinking that, okay, this will be one of those things where it starts off as the movie begins. Like, this is just for exposition purposes. And then it just bleeds into the rest of the story, and then, the characters that are actually involved, they are the visual narrators for the rest of the movie. No, we have to keep cutting back to this black and white presentation of Josh Gad explaining these things that we're witnessing, or to give a hint that he's about to appear himself on the screen.
Yeah, which was really pointless.
Yes.
Also, that kind of underlines one of the major problems of this movie from the get-go. They're doing a lot of telling, not showing.
Yes.
Like, especially with Artemis's intelligence, because that was one, like I said, one of the big ideas was they show how intelligent he is in the book by having him discover the fairies.
Right.
Like, he's so smart, he figured this out.
This
he's
was
12 years old.
happenstance.
Yeah. In this case, it's just a random coincidence because his dad is the smart one.
Right. And his dad just relayed knowledge to him, and they just saw, I found out all this from my dad, and now these things have happened in front of me, so now I can take advantage of it.
By the way, did you care about Butler?
I was actually going to bring up Butler. That was the worst introduction to hey, here's Butler. He's a guy that you don't want to call Butler because he'll kill you for it. But his last name is Butler.
And also, he doesn't really get any major chance to show off his fighting skills.
No. He is promised to be this great fighter, protector of the family. And we see him shoot an arrow, and that's about it. We see a little fencing. That's about it.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some... I forgot about the arrow.
Yeah, that was it. But, like, hand-to-hand, no. It was just bad.
And then we're supposed to care about him later when stuff happens
and
to him.
now we're supposed to care about him, we're supposed to care about his niece as well.
Yeah, I know, and... yeah. I don't even know if I just kind of want to bring up a couple of the other things.
Okay.
Including one thing that... Hey, you know what would be really awkward to do right now?
What?
Not cast someone with the appropriate skin color for a character in a film. What? I don't know if you know this. You know the character Holly?
Yeah.
She's described in the books as having chestnut brown skin.
Yes.
So she's probably supposed to be black.
Yes.
She's not.
Not at all. It was so ridiculous.
So it's like,
No, we're just going with it.
Yeah, like there's some other book stuff I can rag on because like the description of fairies don't really match up with what we see in the movie.
No,
entirely,
we have
but...
kind of like the frogmen look when it comes to these characters for some reason.
Yeah, and it's like, and then we get the bit with the what's his nuts, the Centaur, but they don't really add any depth to him. So it's just like Centaur Man does science.
And I love the fact that they brought him up there, and I was like, oh man, that's actually kind of cool. And then it lasted for like a couple of scenes, and then you never saw him again. I'm like, seriously, we have a Centaur.
Yeah, because Foley's got quite a bit more characterization in the books, of course. But I mean, of course, almost everyone does. And of course, the characterization doesn't suck.
Right.
I mean, it's so weird. They gave freaking Mulch more character, and they subtracted for everyone else. And then we also have, like, we got rid of the whole sexism plot in the LEP, because the whole thing was like that even Holly being an officer was kind of difficult for her because there weren't really any male upper levels. And then meanwhile, oh yeah, now Judi Dench is just the commander.
Right.
So, guess the sexism plot's gone. Okay. I mean, it wasn't the most essential thing, but it's like, And of course, do we want to talk about how Judi Dench is maybe Irish in this, but she couldn't seem to decide?
She really had no idea what we're supposed to be in this situation. Because, of course, like, the whole thing is like, oh, these are Irish folk tales when it comes to the fairies. So, she starts off talking pretty good, and then, like, as the more, especially when it comes to the negotiations, completely gone. Accent is gone.
Yeah, but doesn't she literally say top of the morning at one point?
Yes, she does, yes.
Yeah, I knew I didn't imagine that.
Yes, she does.
Oh, God.
Poor thing.
Like,
between this and Cats, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. And I love me some time shenanigans.
Right.
And I think this is probably a really great explanation for just how much they didn't care. So they're like, oh, so the fairies at one point freeze time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use that in the movie. Right? So the idea with that in the book is they use it to hold back the dawn because the fairies can't go out during the day.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, that didn't have any point of that.
No,
in the movie.
it was the middle of the day the whole time.
Like, and there didn't seem to be any real rules to what worked and what didn't with the whole thing.
No, my biggest thing was like the teasing of the possible fairy revelation by Artemis Fowl II, Artemis Fowl II. And they had so many opportunities. Like, there was no reason why these fairies shouldn't have been exposed in broad daylight with these catastrophic events happening.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense with that. And then, of course, the end where, hey, you didn't believe, but I bet you believe me now.
And then he's like, it was like, this is a kind of a problem, and why are you... Yeah. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Remember how in Fantastic Beasts 1, they were like, the magical world will never survive this.
Right.
And then the sequel, just like, Paris gets nuked.
Yeah!
It's like, again, they kind of forgot the point.
I mean, the biggest problem with this is the fact that this is supposed to be an adventure. Like, really, this is supposed to be an adventure. Like, the whole key thing about what they're supposed to do is like an adventure. And they never leave the premises of Artemis Fowl's house.
No.
It's like the equivalent of Tomb Raider. If Laura never left her home and found everything she was looking for in her home. Because, of course, her father is an archaeologist and can get everything before she could.
Yeah, or like if Batman, if he never left the cave because his dad set up traps to lure everyone.
Right, like everyone has to come to him to try to get Batman. But of course, everything is set up now, so when you come onto the you come onto Wayne Manor, you will be struck down very easily and arrested.
Yeah.
Like,
and Alfred has a niece that doesn't matter.
Right.
Which is kind of true to begin with in, Batman
and this
and
equivalent
Robin.
Barbara Gordon doesn't exist.
Yep. This movie's pretty awful.
No, it's a movie that never gets out of the first act in 90 minutes, and then the credits roll.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like everything about this movie felt like a setup for something more, and then the credits rolled.
There's one thing I can say. It's that they actually got a couple of decent younger actors.
Yes, yeah.
Because Ferdia Shaw and Lara McDonnell, who play Artemis and Holly, I'm going to say they're great, but, like, I get the impression this is Ferdia, in particular, his first film.
Yeah. Oh, very, very much so. Yeah, yeah.
And I really hope he's given a chance to do more.
Yeah, no, he fit the role well. It's just he didn't have the chops to mess with material and like improve on the material that was given to him.
Oh yeah, no, that was the thing. It's like it was basically just stuff fed to him, but he didn't seem like he had direction, so he didn't end up coming up unfortunately stiff like poor what's his nuts Jake Lloyd did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I still feel bad for that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like ditto. Yeah, Laura McDonald. She was pretty solid in her role. It's just, yeah, no, a little awkward.
Yeah, no, it was one of those things. It didn't feel natural, like how they got so friendly.
Well, I know, because they were just desperate to make them friends.
Right. It was like 1 minute, oh, you captured me. Oh, I don't like you. Oh, please don't expose my people. And then, okay, now we're going to work together because, I guess, Stockholm Syndrome?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was rough. This was one of the worst films I've seen in quite a while.
I think we're just going to end on that down.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something positive here.
It's really hard.
Yeah, no, it's not. It really is. Like, it's one of those things that, oh man, it's just a bad movie. And it's the sad part, but thank God that Disney had the sense to put it on Disney Plus, so people don't have to go out of their way to spend their hard-earned money that they haven't already for the subscription service to see those.
It's just rused, and it makes me worried about what Disney's going to do with Chronicles of Prydain. Because I love those books.
Right.
They're great books, and they also dive deep into Welsh folklore. And I'm real worried it's just not gonna
pan out well.
No. I'm just thinking like, oh, because like the whole point of the first book is that Taran isn't the hero he thought he was, but he was the hero the world ultimately needed. And that was really sweet. And now I think if they do redo it, they're going to actually have him be the one who kills the Horned King.
Yeah, he'll be the hero anyway. It won't be that conflict.
Yeah. I'm worried they're going to cower away from the kind of anticlimax with the Horned King, where he's like, and then the prince got his flaming sword and said the Horned King's true name. The Horned King shot himself and then got cut in half, which is fitting. Because it's like, this is the power of words. That's the whole point. And then it's like, no, in the movie it's going to be like an epic 20-minute sword fight, and then he says the name.
Right, exactly.
And all right, I'm just ranting about stuff that
that hasn't happened yet.
Thank you for being here, James.
Oh, no, it was my pleasure for this. I just had to get this off my chest anyway, so now I feel better now.
Yeah, you don't feel as foul?
No, not at all. Not at all.
That was such a forced pun, but
but it worked. Hey, if we could watch this and not have forced puns, I don't know what could have happened.
No, that's true. Oh, God, there's so much worse it could have been.
I know.
Oh dear. Well, next time we'll probably talk about Last of Us Part 2, and I'm sure we'll figure out other things to talk about after this episode is done recording.
Yeah. I don't know how that one's gonna go either.
Well, I gotta finish the game first, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued.
I got more positive stuff to say about it already.
I will agree with you on that one. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see how you feel about it when it's all said and done.
Yeah. All right, folks. Until next time, remember, Dana's been killed.